we need to be doing our research. We need to be looking into the advances that have been happening. And another thing, Mr. President, we have cases that are held up before us, like Fukushima, that people use that as a reason not to move forward with nuclear energy. Mr. President, it's been well documented that the safety procedures that could have prevented that disaster were not followed. But Mr. President, what we're really looking at in the future of nuclear is not the technologies that we see in Prairie Island or in Monticello. It is not the technologies that we talk about that went so over budget in Georgia. What we're talking about are the technologies that we're seeing being brought forward in Wyoming. New technologies that they're studying at Idaho Falls, at the National Nuclear Laboratories. And I would encourage every member of this Senate that if you can't take the time and make the trip out to Idaho Falls, at least get on the internet and get on their website and look at the studies that they're doing and the potential that is there. And if you're going to come back and tell me, well, as these technologies emerge and other places do it, then we can consider this. Well, members, what you have to remember is that our electric utilities are making plans for 5, 10, 20, even 30 years down the road right now. And does this mean, by doing the repeal on the moratorium, that next year they're going to start putting in nuclear facilities in Minnesota? Absolutely not. But what it does is it gives them that ability to start following these technologies as they emerge and start looking at them to see if they make sense in their energy future plans. Without the repeal, they're not allowed to start doing that as they look at their energy mix going forward. That is being completely irresponsible, not allowing them to be looking at the option. That's what this amendment is really doing for us, Mr. President. It's allowing our utilities to begin looking at this as an option. And when you think about the expenses that are coming as we are making this transition to our new energy future, we had a bill before us earlier this year that talks about all the new transmission lines that are needed as these new technologies are being put throughout the state. Well, Mr. President, one of the fabulous things as we look at these new technologies in nuclear is they can be put at the locations where we're retiring our fossil fuel plants. Thus, they would not require all of the new transmission lines, saving us quite a bit of money and time as we are moving forward. So, Mr. President, this is, again, a discussion that we've been having for a long time, as Senator Pratt mentioned. It's something we absolutely need to be doing without the fear that it's happening and coming tomorrow. But I also want to talk a little bit about the spent fuel issue that was talked about here and the worry around that. I'm not going to go into it again. Senator Gruenhagen was right. I believe about 96% of the energy is still available in that spent fuel that's sitting in those casks. We have a potential in Minnesota to follow France. Representative Rarick and myself are already working on some plans to work with Xcel Energy, Prairie Island community, and the Monticello community to be able to get the spent fuel all into one location, which then provides us the opportunity in the near future to develop the plants that would reprocess those spent fuel rods into rods or fuel sources that could be used in these new emerging technologies. But without the repeal and the moratorium, these things don't even get off the ground because we can't even start talking about those futures. Mr. President and members, this is something we have to do if we are truly serious about carbon-free emissions by 2040. The discussions have to start now. The utilities have to be able to start putting this in their plans. Mr. President, this isn't just a one-party issue. The number of groups from the other side of the aisle that support this are growing every single day. They've been doing the research, they've been looking at it. They want carbon-free energy, and they realize without nuclear, we're not going to get there. So, Mr. President and members, support the Lucero motion. Let our Minnesota utilities start the process of doing their planning so that we can actually achieve what we're saying we want to achieve.